In this video, I want to look at a core aspect of context for any organisation, which is its visioning, its vision. Now, if you're familiar with business motivation model, you'll notice in a moment that this is quite significantly different. What business motivation model calls a vision is actually what we would call a goal. It's about how the organization's view of itself. What we've got here is that there is a vision, a story that holds the whole enterprise together. The organization positions itself in relationship to that overall story, the vision for the enterprise. It then has decisions about how it's going to play that role. It has its own goals in relation to how it does its mission. It looks at the outcomes to assess the goals, to assess how well it's doing in its mission, and it has tasks that it's then assessing their outcomes. So we're going to be looking at the visioning part, the much larger scope of this. Now behind this is a concept of the enterprise. Now we've got a fundamental difference going on here between the organisation and the shared enterprise. The enterprise is, in essence, a story, and that's what the vision is. The organisation places itself into the market. It has a role within the market. So it has a role. It has its own choices, its own mission about how it's going to play that role. It has its own goals in relation to how it's going to play that role. So vision, role, mission, goal. So to understand vision, we need to understand what the enterprise is, what the story is that holds everyone together, the thing that links everyone together within this overall story. So we come down to a kind of three-part phrase. In fact, a vision statement, you see vision statements that can be half a page long. A vision statement that really works is really only about 3 words. It should never be longer than about 5 to 10 words at most. What we have is we always have a focus or concern. Everyone is concerned, everyone in the whole story is concerned about something. Now, the example I'll use here is the TED videos, the company Technology Entertainment Design. They talk about ideas worth spreading. So the focus is ideas. What is everyone doing about those ideas? Well, what everyone is doing in that enterprise is spreading ideas. And the driver is about, well, why is this important? Well, as far as TED is concerned, these are ideas that are worth spreading. So if we take that into the TED statement, it's ideas worth spreading. And everyone in the whole story is concerned with ideas that are worth spreading. Now what that tells you from there is that the organisations must be dealing with something to do with that. It must have a role, and in TED's case it's about conferences, videos and more, books for example. Other people play other roles. For example, there are the people who do the TED Talks. They have a different role within that overall story. The people who create the ideas, the people who implement those ideas, all have different roles within that story. But everyone is concerned with the one story of ideas worth spreading. That also tells us what the values are. So that if we look at that, the role is about spreading ideas. But the values that drive this relate to worth. This gives us our values. It also gives us our success criteria. What are the values around worth? Well, how do we assess what is an idea that is worth spreading? We're going to assess things like before, during and after. How do we assess what is an idea that's worth spreading? How do we assess the value of the actual presentation of that idea? And later on, outside the scope of the organisation itself, because that's only doing conferences, videos and books, someone's going to assess whether that idea was worth spreading. How was it used? How was it applied? How did it make sense? How could we use it? How can we learn from what was done before? So all of this arises from that 3-word statement, ideas worth spreading. Everything that we do within the organisation is then tested by not just ourselves, and that's our mission and our goal, but about how everyone in that enterprise sees how we are doing our goal. So visioning is really crucially important to make sense of how our organisation relates with the enterprise. And we can build it out of just 3 words. What is our focus? What is the action that everyone is doing? What is the driver that makes it worthwhile? The action tells us what our role will be, or gives us a range for what our role can be. The driver tells us what the values are and the success criteria that the enterprise expects from us, and to which every promise that we make must align. So that's visioning. It's really central to making sense of the context for any given organisation. Thanks for watching. Do look at the YouTube description for links to further detail. And don't forget to subscribe for other videos, and also to support us on Patreon to help us produce these videos and the tools themselves.